Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. This is the ninth video in the contracts series. After this one, I will switch to another format focusing on commonalities and general principles applicable to all three internal styles. Some topics such as opening and closing, different type of forces and power, nature of internal style, and other issues will be covered in the new series. Like I said a few videos ago, teaching in the West is a lot different compared to China, including in terms of the way a student choose a suitable style. A few years ago, due to my busy schedule and other obligations, I had to reduce my teaching hours. As a result, I stopped having group classes for Xing. So that left prospective students with fewer options. However, when I was teaching martial art and Qigong full-time, I realized how different things were compared to China in terms of a student choosing a style to practice. So I adopted the policy of not giving unsolicited advice. In Canada, most prospective students had already decided what style to practice. I would just let them join my class and realize things for themselves. If they asked me what style to practice, then I would ask them about their training background, experience, expectation, and other related aspects. Before making a suggestion, very often they would take my advice and start to practice. However, there were many other times when prospective students visited me and asked me for permission to try all the styles. Every single time, I would tell them I had no problem and let them proceed. Because I knew from my prior experience in this country that most of the time, this kind of a person would not last long in my class. Actually, to be more precise, in my 20 years in Canada, only one student, Juan Alvarez, decided to practice Xing with me after trying all the three styles. I asked some of my students about this strange experience. Many of them told me that simultaneously exposure to all three styles ended up overwhelming a new student. As a result, they decided to give up altogether. I'm not sure it was the case, but I'm pretty sure that Juan was the only student of mine who tried three styles and eventually decided to practice with me for years before I had to stop teaching Xing in a group setting due to my busy schedule. Even though Juan and I do not practice together anymore, we still keep in touch. Again, to be clear, I do have multiple students, both current and former, who actively practice two or even all the three styles regularly. But all of them started first with one style and then added another styles. Now, you may want to know why I'm talking about this story. Well, many people have a hard time when deciding to choose among the three internal styles. I strongly feel it is worthwhile for me to make a contrast for the three styles, and hopefully it will help you decide how to choose the right one for yourself. Topics covered in today's video include: first, Wuwei and its paradox. Second, advantage versus disadvantage of each style. Third, objective approach. 4, demonstration. And 5, takeaways. So, let's get started. Topic 1, Wuwei and its paradox. I have introduced Lao Tzu and his Taoist system in prior videos. One of the important concepts of his philosophy is Wuwei. Wu means no or without. Wei is action, effort. So literally, Wuwei means non-action. People may correlate Wuwei with non-doing or doing nothing. They may assume it to mean laziness or apathy, which is totally wrong. Wuwei actually means follow the Tao or follow the way. You could also consider it to be equivalent to the popular phrase, go with the flow. This paradoxical meaning of Wuwei is effortless action or actionless action. More importantly, Lao Tzu in Tao Te Ching emphasized a state of being, which is Wu Wei or Wu Bu Wei, or action through inaction. It is the core ideology of his philosophy that the concept of Tao, the connotation of which is naturalness and action through inaction. Sometimes people translate it as follow natural law. Socially speaking, Lao Tzu believed that actionless governance, or governing by non-interference, was the best way for an emperor to adapt in public administration. We can say that such effortless action is a highly effective and efficient level of action instead of doing nothing. So, the precondition of Wu Wei is its opposite, which is You Wei in Chinese, or with action. Also, different schools have different attitudes toward the word Wei or action. For example, Confucianism emphasizes You Wei or with action. This is why Wu Wei and You Wei, or non-action and with action, have been a pair of disputable philosophical concepts for more than 2,000 years in China. Especially the term Wu Wei, since it is paradoxical, face value can be easily misinterpreted. We have to understand its real meaning in order to not be misled by this term. Furthermore, another term has been created in order to unambiguously emphasize the true meaning of Wu Wei. This term is You Fa, or with method. So, the complete term becomes Wu Wei You Fa, or non-action but with method, meaning that in order to achieve the Wu Wei result, one has to follow a specific method, or the Wu Wei would fall into an empty result. To summarize this term, Wu Wei is the result. It indicates that one acts without forced effort, since one applies and uses a specific method, or 有法. Topic 2. Advantage versus disadvantage of each style. In China, there is a very popular proverb, 殊途同归, which literally translated to all return to the same place through traveling in different roads. It is roughly equivalent to all roads lead to Rome. In the martial art community, many people would see this proverb to express that no matter what style you practice, the final result is the same. If you ask me, I would say that I only agree partially. First, different ways may lead to the same destination. However, what is the state of in the end, or if you cannot reach the end, then what would happen? How many people can honestly claim to have reached their destination in martial art training? The unfortunate reality is that most people do not reach their destination state of in the end. So they would never reach Rome in practice. Since most of us cannot reach the end, then different roads would lead us to different places. Second, even though all the roads lead to Rome, there must be a road that is faster or easier or both. If so, we should prefer to walk that path. This is why it is important to know which style is more suitable for you. To answer this question, one has to know the advantages and disadvantages of each style first. To describe the three styles, I use the three states of water as an example. Xing is solid, hard, and strong, like ice. Tai Chi is flexible, fluid, and powerful, like water. Bagua is adaptive and changeable, like steam. I'm sure most of you are aware of the TV show Avatar, The Last Airbender. I like the depiction of Tai Chi as water bending and Bagua as air bending. Anyway, now let's talk about the basic fighting pattern of each style. In Xing, you focus on blocking and striking simultaneously. In Bagua, you always evade and attack and then strike back. In Tai Chi, you follow the attacking force and then strike back by combining the opponent's withdrawing force with your own force. People often say, in Bagua, people walk along a circle. In Tai Chi, people draw a circle. In Xing, people strike on point. This is why a famous martial art proverb in the community is Bagua is about stepping, Tai Chi is about the waist, and Xing is about the fist. All of these expressions and descriptions talk about the characteristics of each style and its advantages. Now, how about their disadvantages of each style? Well, you may say that the disadvantage of a style lies in the practitioner, not the style itself, but I disagree. Sure, they may all share the same end goal, but the process is not the same at all. So, it's imperative that you know the disadvantage of the style and how those affect you before you begin your journey. Based on decades of experience and observation, I have concluded a few things about each style. Those are: Bagua has better body movement and stepping than both Tai Chi and Xing. Tai Chi has better flexibility and subtlety of movement than both Bagua and Xing. Xing has a better Fajin or strong power release than both Bagua and Tai Chi. So, you can see that each style has its own advantage and disadvantage in general compared to the others. Please keep in mind that there are no absolute advantage and disadvantages. Everything is relative. In other words, there is no perfect style. Rather, whatever style works best for you would be your perfect style. Let me remind you here, Wuwei or non-action is the destination, but you cannot ignore the method. Alright, now you know that there is no absolute perfect style. How do you choose the style best suitable for you? That brings us to the next topic. Topic 3. Objective Condition Method. This is a method that I designed to help students choose the style, and I have been using it for years. Of course, like I said in the beginning, if a customer did not ask for my opinion about the choice of the style, then I would just let them practice whatever style they wished. You may find my choice of the word customer quite strange. Allow me to disagree for a bit. I use the word customer here intentionally. Initially, everyone expressing interest in learning martial art is the customer to me. Only after they show active interest and honest intentions in practice and also pay attention to my advice and feedback do I start considering them as my students. Often, I also end up learning new things from my students and then begin to consider them as my friend. Having said that, let me get back to explaining the objective condition method. I consider two groups of factors in choosing the right style. First, your objective of practice, and second, your current condition, including prior training experience, age, physical condition, and aptitude of learning. By the way, after years of teaching, I can easily identify a person's potential in training by observing, analyzing, and communicating with them. First, objectives of practice. Basically, there are three types of objectives, including for health, for self-defense, and for both. Very often, one may say the objective of practice is for both, and actually, there is always a preference. I believe that giving the same amount of time and effort, Xing can provide the best result in self-defense, especially for those who are younger and having more energy. Xing would be an excellent option. Whenever someone comes to me and expresses the intention of learning Xing, I know right away that their main objective is self-defense. Then the next option would be Bagua. It is a hard style in terms of its body structure, but it can be practical and effective in a self-defense situation. Also, I think Bagua is a hard style in terms of its body structure. It requires a certain level of patience and hard work. Then the result is great. As for Tai Chi, especially Chen style Tai Chi, of course, it is a good style for self-defense purposes. However, due to the nature of Tai Chi practice, it requires a much longer time and effort in order to achieve this objective. Tai Chi is great for those who are patient and enjoy learning a lot of body mechanisms and subtle details, especially if one is analytical, detail-oriented, and enjoys learning culture-related contents. Tai Chi is the best option among the three internal styles. In China, it is considered a gentleman's art, but with a warrior's attitude. It is a great combination of both if one manages well. Second, so ask them for their objectives and then check with them the second factor, which is their conditions including training experience, age, physical condition, aptitude of learning, and so on. Now, it is a bit complicated. It requires a bit experience as a teacher to give helpful advice by taking those factors into consideration. I'd like to introduce a traditional way here in evaluating someone's physical body condition toward choosing a style. In Xing, traditionally, there was a popular saying in Tianjin describing three body types requiring a lot more effort in mastering this style. It goes like this: chest as thin as a sheet, waist as slim as a snake, legs as long as the mantis. This description is visual enough, so there's no need to elaborate this proverb any further. This has been the traditional way to express that people with these body structures should make more efforts compared to others. Furthermore, this physical weakness can become an advantageous factor if managed well in training. One can become very flexible and fast in movement. So, as a teacher, we respect the tradition, but more importantly, we should help students change any potential weaknesses into strengths. 2. 八卦. If one lacks of flexibility on the waist, or if you observe that your body is rigid in general, then you should make more effort in learning this style by adding some exercise in the warming up section. 5 to 10 minutes of stretching exercise in the beginning of each training session. Then, with time, your flexibility will improve. So, you do have a solution. You only need to follow it in order to see progress. Finally, coming to Tai Chi. It seems that everyone can practice it. And of course, it is the correct statement. However, if you want to maximize the benefit provided by the style and not waste time and energy, then some factors should be considered. For example, if you have a hard time memorizing movements or managing the coordination in practice, then Tai Chi may not be a good choice. Like I always emphasize, Tai Chi is the art that requires the most effort if you want to reach a high level. So please be ready for it if you choose Tai Chi. Also, regarding the factor of prior training experience, it is better for you to have practiced some styles of martial art, mainly with respect to physical conditioning, flexibility, and developing a martial attitude. However, you may need to spend quite a bit of time adapting your body and the movements to the new style in order to reap the full benefit. This is also the case when you already have a background in one internal style and are learning another one. But it's not a problem if you have had no prior experience with any martial art. We all have to begin somewhere, and it's not a problem to have an internal style as your very first martial art. Of course, I encourage you to practice different styles at the same time, but you should focus on one style in the beginning to develop specific body structure, or body structure might be affected by the other style. So, to solve this issue, do not give equal preferences to multiple styles in the beginning. To summarize, if you are a current or prospective student of one or more internal styles, analyzing your objective and the conditions in choosing a style will be more productive in training. Of course, if you are an instructor, this approach will help you as well. To reach the result of the Wuwei, you need a method. Topic 4. Demonstration. As I mentioned in topic 3, if you think you are not that flexible but still want to practice bagua, then some exercise may help you improve on this issue. Please keep in mind that flexibility in martial art does not mean that one can stretch as much as possible. In martial art, more importantly, flexibility means being able to perform simultaneously strong and fast physical movement without a great deal of effort. Having said that, today I'd like to introduce a bagua exercise. The name of this movement is dragon rolling the body. I learned it from my grandfather. When I was a child, I was not that flexible myself. So he taught me this one to improve my flexibility. Now, let me demonstrate it to you. This is exercise. So what you do is, you can extend the arm, and then body maintain the same angle, then turn, then again, then turn. Okay, so the key is that this palm maintain the same level, same angle, then body rotate, then turn, then body rotate, then turn. You can repeat this movement as many times as you want, but stretch this area each time. Topic 5. Takeaways. This video have covered some interesting but practical topics. First, the concept of Wuwei Youfa, or effortless action with method, has been introduced. Second, advantage and disadvantage of each style has been discussed. Again, there's no absolute perfect style, and it all depends on your objective and conditions. 3. A demonstration to improve flexibility, especially for those who want to practice Bagua, has been introduced. That's end today's video. Thank you for watching. See you next time and enjoy your practice.